Good morning, good afternoon, or possibly good evening. My name is Dale McKay. I'm a Senior Technical Marketing Architect here in the Network and Advanced Security Business Group at VMware. For about the next 15 minutes, I want to take you through what I'm calling an Operations Part 1. This deals with SaltStack, the integration with Carbon Black Cloud, and in particular in this Part 1, we're going to look at how to determine vulnerabilities and how to automatically remediate them using the SaltStack platform. This is one of a series of SaltStack videos, and I really encourage you to watch the entire series. Thanks for watching. Now that we have a minion that we have just added, this +win10 minion, let's see what we can do with these minions. And one of the first things that we want to do is we want to look at the vulnerabilities that exist in our environment. We do this through these vulnerability policies, and I've created two, and we'll talk about those. The first one is this win10 policy. And let me just go edit the policy and you can see what's in it. There's not really a lot to the policy. There's a name, the target, and then we'll talk a little bit more about recurring and how you might run this policy. And you can see that I can also run an assessment when I click on save. In my particular case, we have two minions now assigned to this policy, and what we want to do is we want to run an assessment against those two minions. Let's do that. That assessment started, and I can kind of watch my in progress jobs by going to activity in progress, and I can see that indeed that job is running. If I click on this job ID over here, I'll see that it's actually running against 3 minions, including that new one that we just added. And you can see that nothing has come back yet. That job will move into the completed category once it's already been completed. You can see that that earlier test ping job that I ran to establish connectivity with that new minion is in the completed category, and if we go back and look, we can see that this one is still in the process of working towards that. So once that assessment has been completed, if there are issues, vulnerabilities, things that need to be corrected or at least brought to our attention, those are going to show up here in this policy, and we will see the minions and we will see the criteria that SALT is developing for us in terms of vulnerabilities. Okay, now that assessment has completed. You can see it listed under activity and completed right here, and you can see that it was successful for 2 of the minions, and one of them it didn't return value, and there's a reason for that. That one's actually undergoing some updates on its own right now. But what's interesting is that when we look at what was returned and we look at it from a minion perspective, we can see that that new minion that we just added, this +win10, does have something that needs to be corrected. And if we want to see what that is, we can go right here and we can see that it's this 2021-10 cumulative update preview for .NET Framework. So let's go ahead and add that to this minion, and we'll remediate this issue that we noticed when we did the assessment. We can just click right there for selecting that particular minion, and we're going to click on Remediate. Now let's hop over here and let's pull up Task Manager, and we'll just watch as things progress through. Okay, as you can see, I've opened Event Viewer on that ClusWin10 platform that we're using to remediate, and you can see that it tells me installation was successful. Windows install the following update, that cumulative update preview, and you can see that has been completed. Now if I go back to SaltStack, I go back to my vulnerability policies, I should be able to come here and run a new assessment. And at this point, I should not have any findings for my Win10 policy. Again, we can come over here, we can see if that job is indeed running, and it is. It's going to take a few seconds to run. It's again going to run against those 3 minions. Now you might be asking yourself, well, how did you create this target? Well, if we go to Minions, you can see that there are multiple targets here. CentOS, Linux, you can read all the different targets that are available. So what I can do is I can come here and I can create new targets. I can also go here and attach different roles. I can download some of the information of what's in that target. So in this particular case, I can, if I look at the windows, what you can see is that we have created this target using what's known as grains, and that's a little more in depth than what we're going to cover, but basically we're looking at the operating system full name, Microsoft Windows 10 Pro or 10 Pro N. We match that criteria, and that's what allows you to become a member of this Windows target. So now let's just hop back over to, let's see if our assessment is still running. It's not. You can see it's been completed. Should be this top job right here. When I go back over to my vulnerability policies, I see that indeed I have no requirements in my Win10 policy for any work to be done. You can see it's all zeros for those 2 minions that we did execute the assessment against. Now, one final thing about doing these assessments is it is possible for me to come in and schedule these. And you can see that in my particular case, I have one of those ping tests that I had mentioned earlier, but I can go in here, create a schedule. I can run that schedule. I can run that job as frequently as I want or don't want. And it's even going to tell me the jobs that it has completed or are available, and we can go in and create new jobs here. So this vulnerability assessment is something that could be scheduled on a daily, weekly, monthly, probably not quarterly basis.